Chirp YouTube channel. I hope you're having a great day. I'm happy to be here chatting with you today, and our topic today is screen time and language development. I probably don't have to tell you that experts are saying no screen time before 3. And yes, it's true. What you thought might be the case all along actually has good science behind it. The more screen time a child experiences, the more likely he is to have an expressive language delay. In fact, each 30-minute increase in screen time is correlated with a 49% increase in expressive language delay. And that's even a bigger deal if your child is not developing typically. In order to give your child the best possible chance at the best possible language development, the best choice is to not allow your child under 3 to have any screen time at all. That includes iPads, cell phones, actual computers, video games, television, and any other screen electronic device that you can think of. We want children to be interacting with real people, real live people. You probably notice that as soon as a child looks at a screen, he's just sucked in. It's like he's been hypnotized or mesmerized by this device. He doesn't really pay attention to the social world around him. He doesn't communicate. He doesn't really respond to communication. A lot of adults somehow expect very small children to be able to tune out other things the way that many adults do. The problem is that even adults don't tune things out the way that they think they do. All of those superfluous things going on in our environment that cause noise, that have visual movement, they're all distractions, and they all do have an effect on how our brain works, how we process information, and how tired our brain might be. It's very silly to expect that little children can do something that many adults cannot do, and that is to filter out the electronic devices in their environment and be able to focus in on the actual human interactions. And what we're finding is they don't do it, and in fact adults probably don't either, but that is a topic for a different video. So the child isn't paying attention to the world around him. The many videos that I've done on engagement will tell you why it's such a big deal if a child is not tuned in to the world around him. And he doesn't notice you calling his name. He doesn't notice other children playing near him, though they're probably sucked in as well. And it seems almost sometimes as if he's not even blinking. Maybe he's having some sort of a seizure. They really do seem to be hypnotized by these electronic devices, and that is not a good mindset for learning. What are some other options besides screen time that could engage your child? Of course, if you're available to interact with your child, play with toys. I've done lots of videos on playing with toys. I will continue to do videos on how to play with your child, but any activity can be considered play if the child thinks that it's fun and if it's interactive. That is good. We want more of that in our children's lives. But what if you need to be cooking dinner or doing laundry or something else where your child is not going to get one-to-one attention from you for a little while? What are some activities that you could offer your child or make available for your child to choose from instead of screen time? Let's think about some of the following. Maybe a penguin run. I talk about penguin runs a lot, and most kids are enthralled by them. What about a car ramp? Very similar to the penguin run, except for a little sturdier for younger children, and also this one is very eco-friendly. A ball ramp. Very similar to those. The ball goes down and then meanders its way to the bottom. It's very calming and much more interactive than screen time would be, even though it is equally enthralling. Blocks. Kids love blocks. They love to stack them up and knock them down. Almost any child at any level of development can play with blocks in an age-appropriate way. If a child is very small, we just play by setting up the blocks and knocking them down and setting them up again. And that can be fun. And then, of course, as a child develops, maybe he builds houses or she makes the blocks into people and has them talk to each other. There are lots of things to do with blocks. Cars. Cars are a great idea. Little mini cars or bigger cars if your child is younger, driving them around, crashing them into each other, having them talk to each other, making little garages for them, fixing them. There's all sorts of stuff that we can do with cars and that our child can do with them when we are not able to play. There is always playhouse. I am talking like a dollhouse, but for some reason, when I say dollhouse, there are assumptions that boys would not play with it. I don't find that to be the case. I find it extremely helpful for both genders of children to play with pretend people. And we can practice the people interacting, doing activities of daily living, all of those things, social skills and behavior management, all of those things we can practice with pretend houses, and so they are a great choice for every child. If you're gonna get one for a young boy though, make sure that it's like wood and red and blue and probably not the pink and purple ones, because even some of our youngest boys are not interested in girl colors. Although I have one boy in my classroom right now who loves pink. It's his favorite color. What about coloring? Coloring doesn't make a mess, and children have an opportunity to move, to create something fun, to use lots of different colors. Also, some people, I am one of them, really like the smell of crayons, and so it can be a sensory experience from that point of view as well. I want to mention that all of the activities that I've listed here are not simple sit and stare activities. We don't want sit and stare. We want engage activities. We want interact, think, explore, move, use your motor abilities, use your eyes, use your ears, use your nose, use all of your senses as much as possible. And why can't we create a specialty box that could stand in instead of screen time during those moments where parents need to be somewhere else, or grandparents, or aunts and uncles? So for example, you could have a textures box. It can just be a shoe box or a plastic box that is full of a variety of different items that have different textures. They can feel them with their hands, they can explore, they can talk about it, or just use these items in a way that helps them to feel calm. You could try one of these boxes for smells also. I have one of these in my classroom too, and I used some essential oils, the really simple ones, peppermint, lavender, lemon, orange, not the complex ones like frankincense. Those don't really do so well with our kids. They really like the simple smells. So we put together a box of cotton balls with essential oil on it, and each one is in a little, maybe a little snap box that the kid can open up and smell, or maybe in a little Ziploc, and the child can enjoy experiencing all of those smells, and they're very engaging. You can also put spices on a cotton ball. I really like cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg, ginger. Don't use the spicy ones because kids will tend to breathe in really hard, and if you use cayenne or chili powder or chili flakes or something like that, they are not going to enjoy it, and it will probably be painful. We do not want that for our poor little kid noses. I also use lip balms, the super healthy kind that are organic and safe to eat if you want to, that have lemon smell, peppermint smell, spearmint smell, cinnamon smell even. And I instruct kids early on when I'm introducing these to put them on their hand and then smell it rather than smearing it on their faces. It is a great idea to teach them first to open it up and smell it. And then we can put the lid back on. We don't even have to apply it to ourselves unless we feel it would help us to stay calm, and then we can. There is also the option of having boxes that Amazon delivered to you that are now empty, and allowing your child to put the boxes inside of each other, take out the packing bubbles and put them back in, put in all their toys, take out all their toys. I have two little nieces who I must say are typically developing, but they love to put things in bags, to put things in boxes, then to take them out, to carry them around. Kids like to do this stuff. If they are capable of all the motor movements, just give them a bunch of boxes. Kids really find things to do with them. This is one that requires a little more creativity from your children, so if your child's not at that level developmentally, then just pick some of the other things from this list that are appropriate for the developmental level of your child, and that will engage your child even when you're not there to purposefully interact. What about playing in uncooked pasta? If you're cooking, this can be a great way for your child to pretend cook right alongside you. So you have a great big box that's pretty deep on the sides, and you just fill it with cheap uncooked pasta. If your child has any sort of a food allergy, be careful that you get pasta that is okay for that food issue. For example, in my classroom we have gluten-free pasta because I have a gluten-free classroom. So keep that in mind if that's something that concerns you as well. Big box, maybe some scoops, maybe some little cups, and your child can cook right alongside you, making pasta and also getting some really good sensory input. If your child is more on the early side of the developmental scale, then you do want to keep in mind that some of the things that are going to be the most engaging are sensory things. For example, if you haven't heard of a bumble ball, it is a ball about this big that has sort of different pokey out parts. All of them are not dangerous, and you push it in a certain spot and it vibrates and kind of jiggles around. And it's really fun and engaging for kids who have sensory issues or have difficulty with their play skills and who need development in the play area. It's an item that can be very interactive, but it also can entertain a child who needs more sensory input. It's very fun. I like them too. They even have some by Fisher-Price that look like animals. The one that is my favorite is the pig, and he goes hee hee and buzzes and vibrates and jiggles around when you push him on his cute little snout. They're pretty adorable. I'll put links to those kind of things down below. There are wooden stacking trains, so it's a wooden train, and then the first car maybe just has one peg, and all the blocks that would stack on that car have one hole. And then the second car has two pegs, and the blocks that would stack on top of that one have two holes. So the child can play train, can experiment with putting the blocks on the appropriate car. It's very engaging, very fun, and you can do lots of different things with it. But it does have a very soothing method to solving this little puzzle, and some kids really enjoy that. You also might want to consider musical instruments. Maybe the ones that aren't so loud. I almost never allow any sort of drum toy in my classroom because kids really go to town on it. But I do have a piano that you roll out and the kids can walk on it and it plays sounds. I have rules about how high the volume can be. You can also use a keyboard that rolls out that's on the table that you play with your hands. You can also use a xylophone of some kind. There are metal ones, there are wooden ones. I guess the wooden ones are probably called a marimba. But anyway, there are lots of different musical instruments that you can use that will entertain your child because you move it and it makes a noise. That's really cool. Children are interested in exploring all sorts of stuff that we wouldn't necessarily think they would be interested in, and things that we would not necessarily want to explore. As long as it's safe, see if you can let boxes, papers, pots and pans, spoons, blankets, and couch pillows be toys. They can be toys as long as we are playing with them in a way that is engaging and fun. I hope this gave you some alternatives to screen time so that your child can have a lower chance of increased language delay. We don't want that. If you have questions, let me know. And until I see you next time, have a great day. Bye.